Stickman named Steam works in an office and feels like a tiny drone cog in a huge system. He is tired of living paycheck to paycheck and starts wondering if there is another way. In 2026, he decides to run an experiment and try 5 of the most profitable side hustles. His goal is to figure out which of them can actually change the life of someone as simple as him. In the evening at home, together with his girlfriend, he looks at his bank account and realizes his efforts aren't giving the results he wants. That moment becomes the starting point of change for him and the beginning of his own personal series. Steam decides that each new way of making money will be a separate episode of his story. This is how the journey of a stickman begins, as he searches for the niches he's best at. His first side hustle becomes creating content using artificial intelligence. He sits behind a laptop in cafes and at home, and instead of cameras and actors, he uses AI tools. Brands bring him their products and ideas, and he turns them into dozens of realistic videos. Each video becomes a small story that thousands of people see on social media. Steam quickly realizes that what matters most isn't the tech itself, but the results it brings his clients. He learns to create videos that bring companies attention and new customers. Gradually, he sees that one stickman with a laptop can replace an entire small studio. This experience shows him that his value is defined not by how he looks, but by his skills and the impact of his work. The next chapter of his story takes him into the world of business profiles and serious resumes. Steam tries himself as an invisible writer on LinkedIn and manages pages for entrepreneurs. He writes posts on their behalf while they're busy with meetings, teams and projects. To speak convincingly for them, he studies their business, their audience and their real problems. Each of his posts turns into a small scene, likes, comments and discussions appear. Over time, some of that engagement turns into DMs and collaboration inquiries. His clients' profiles start generating calls and real deals. Steam realizes that his words are becoming a tool that opens doors to big contracts. After working with digital profiles, he starts paying close attention to the city around him. On the streets, he sees lots of small businesses, cafes, saloons and repair or service shops. Checking their online presence, he notices that many don't have proper websites. Some aren't represented online at all, aside from random reviews. Steam decides to help them take a clear first step into the digital world. At home, he builds simple websites for them using no-code builders, with descriptions, services and contact info. These pages have everything a customer needs to quickly understand what the business does. Then he goes to the owners and shows them ready-made versions of their online storefronts. He explains how these websites can bring in people not just from the street, but also from search and social media. Gradually, he builds a model with monthly payments for maintenance and updates. This is how the stickman becomes the invisible architect of digital spaces for real-world places. Over time, he starts missing real emotions and direct contact with people. Steam picks up a camera and decides to try photography. He chooses film because it matches his drawn nature and gives a sense of authenticity. He photographs people in parks, on street and at home, capturing moments that disappear quickly. Each shot has to be developed and waited on before he can see the result. When he holds the first printed photos, he realizes they're not just images, they're people's stories captured on paper in specific seconds of their lives. Gradually, he builds up a small portfolio of real-life shoots. With his first paid shoots, he is convinced that even a stickman can be an artist if he finds his style. Despite the different formats, he notices one thing in common across all his side hustles. Almost everywhere, he is still directly trading his time for money. This pushes him to try creating something that can work without his constant involvement. He starts researching narrow niches where there are lots of engaged people, but not much structured information. In one of these areas, he finds an overlap between his experience and what the audience is asking for. Steam sits down at his laptop and turns his experience into a step-by-step digital guide. He makes it practical with a clear structure and specific steps. The guide becomes a digital product that people can buy and use whenever they want. At the same time, he shares free tips, attracting a small but engaged community. Once people get to know his approach and trust his expertise, some of them buy the product. For the first time, the stickman sees his knowledge generating income even when he isn't actively working. Looking back, he sees a whole chain of transformations from a tired office worker into a multifaceted character. He's gone from AI creator to LinkedIn writer, website builder, photographer, and digital product predictor. Each role gave him new skills, new income streams, and a better understanding of his strengths. He concludes that the main thing isn't the side hustle's label or how trendy the niche is. What matters is how much his work helps people and businesses solve real problems. Exactly where he brings tangible value is where the worth of his work grows the fastest. Steam's story shows that even a simple drawn character can break out of the normal paycheck life. All it took was a willingness to learn, try new things, and give himself time to experiment. The year with 5 side hustles ends, but the Stickman series is just beginning. Ahead of him is a new choice: which roles to keep, which to grow into a full business, and which to drop. His story remains an example of how a small hero can build a big life step by step.